gonna be doing today is gonna be called asm2. So it says, what does asm2, oxb, and ox2e return? Submit the flag as a hexadecimal starting with ox. Note, your submission for this question will not be a normal flag format. And then we got the source. So how do we solve this challenge? So it says there's conditionals and then there's a source code. So if we download the source code and if we open test.s, we get this file. We get just a small ASM file. We just gotta be able to, I guess, understand assembly. So what this assembly is doing basically at the beginning is that it's setting up our variables. In our case, it's setting up how everything gets put in place. So in this case, we're setting up, this part is basically setting up our variables. So it's going to be EAX is going to equal to our function variable. So it'll be something like this. EAX is going to equal to that, because we're, let's see, ASM is being inputted with this assembly language right here. So this one's getting initialized first, and then later on is getting set right here to this part right here. So you can think of this like a local variable. So local is gonna equal to that. It's gonna be local 1, and then we got the next one right here, which is basically EAX equaling our second part, which is this right here. EAX is going to equal to this part right here. And then from here, we're basically making another variable, so we call this local 2. Is going to equal to this exact same one. So now we have two variables hold right here. So now we basically initializing our entire part right here. So this is basically initialization. Initialize. And then from right here, we start getting into looping. So this is basically jumps to 509, but it says right here. So what we're doing right now is basically adding onto our local variable this. So we're adding ox1, which is basically a +1 to local 1 right here. So it'll be this value right here. So it'll be local 1 plus equals 1 right here. And then we do, I'm assuming, a subtraction between this part right here, oxf80. So I guess, how do we understand what this part is? So if you just grab this and do a hex, this right here, decimal. -128. So it's basically, if you go right here, it's gonna be local 2 basically is gonna equal minus -128, which is equal to local 2 plus 128. Now we get comparison between, you compare local 128 to that. So it's going to be local 128. It's going to be local, basically local 2 is going to be if it's less than or equal to this value right here, or except that. So we just grab that, convert 25578. So it's basically a comparison between these two values. And then after that, it checks if it's less than or equal to, and it'll stop once it goes over this value. And then from there, we basically will get the final answer, because ox41 is basically what's returned. which is OX41 is basically whatever local 1 is. So we got to figure out. So we have this. We want to be able to figure out what's OX41 at the end of it. So the gist of it will be trying figuring out what local 0 is going to be. So that's basically the point of the challenge. So how do we solve this? So we have, what does local 1 equal? So local 1 in our case, what does that equal? Is equal to OX2E. So we just put that right there. Convert it. That equals to 46. So that is going to equal to 46. And then we have local 2, which is OXB, which is 11. Local 2 is equal to 11. Local 2 is equal to 11. So now we have that. And now we know that, let's see, inside here, OX41, which will be this one right here, local 1. Local 1. So it's going to be local 1 is getting added, whoa, plus 1 every iteration. So wait, OX4B, so we add, yeah, local 0 gets added 1. So yeah. Yeah, so, okay. So we want to see what comes out at the end of it. So we know the final answer is going to be 25587. We know that for a fact. Now we have local 2 is plus 128. So local 2. But at the end of the day, local 1 is what we care about. Local 1. So local 1 is going to be basically 46. But we have, yeah, local 1. Local 2. Oh yeah, so we got 11 and then plus 128 and 11, because this starts with 11 and we add it 128 times, so we just got to do the math right here. So it's going to be 25587 minus 11 divided by 128 equals n. So we got to get an idea what that's going to be. So we're just going to cover this up. I think like this will work on any calculator. We should get an answer. I think if we just Google this, it's gonna be 200. I guess if we round it up, 200. So now we know 200 times that this number is gonna iterate all the way up. So this is gonna be plus 200 times. The reason being is because we're always adding plus 1 to local 1. OX4 local 1. So we're always adding 200. So the final answer is going to be 246. Now we want to put this into hex. So 246, number conversion, decimal to hex. Then we do that. It's going to be OXF6, I'm assuming. So it's going to be OXF6. And that solves that challenge. So yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. It takes a little bit of a while to understand
ASM, but once you get it, it becomes pretty straightforward. But yeah, that's what I did for this challenge. Hope you guys learned something new today. I know I did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.